Today I fucked up for going to the ER for sucking dick. A couple months ago, it was date night with my BF and I was pumped to finally relax after a rough week. My boyfriend, who asked to be called Magnum here, rolling eyes face, so I'll refer to him as M, and I ended up making stuffed crust pizza. With grilled onions, sausage, and a fuck ton of cheese. It looks fucking amazing. So does M. So while waiting for it to bake, we head back to the bedroom to do things. After blowing him, I pulled off to swallow, but I couldn't, my jaw was locked wide open. Super embarrassed, I ran into the bathroom to get his cum out of my mouth. It was still stuck in the back of my throat, but I couldn't swallow or spit, so I tilted my mouth forward to allow his baby gravy to slowly drip out my mouth into the sink. We try everything, forcing my jaw shut with hands, aggressively wiggling it, massaging, praying to Jesus to forgive me for my premarital sins, but it's still stuck wide open. Trying to make a little more tolerable, I took ibuprofen with wine, dumbly forgetting I can't swallow. So there I was, choking on his semen, wine, pills, and drool uncontrollably flowing out of my mouth. To make matters worse, M eats the pizza in front of me. It smells delicious, and obviously I can't have any. At /4am, we give up the home remedies and Uber to the ER. I attempt to explain my situation to the receptionist with my mouth wide open and drool dripping onto my shirt. She's probably like, why is this guy taking advantage of this poor retarded girl? I write down that I'm nauseous and worried I'll die from sucking dick and choking on my own vomit, and get seen pretty quickly. We end up with an audience of about /5 other curious doctors while this guy inspects my jaw. One asks, how did this happen? Me. Another doctor, did you yawn? Me. Yeah. Woman face palming. One doctor massages my neck while the other one sticks his hands into my mouth and pushes my back teeth back. It hurts like a bitch. This guy's applying his whole body weight into my teeth and I can feel his arms shaking as he leans into me. But then, suddenly everything feels right again. It's all in place. We go home and the pizza is still good the next morning, and everything is okay. Well, besides having to send an ER bill home to my parents and explain that it was from dislocating my jaw. M looked awfully smug the whole time, but I appreciated him coming me to the ER and letting me drool all over him. Too long didn't read, dislocated my jaw by sucking dick. I had to go to the ER at 4 am. Watch my BF eat the pizza we made together when I couldn't, and publicly humiliate myself. Edit, wow, this hit the front page, can't believe this is my claim to fame. What is with this stubborn sucking dick recently? It's a dangerous activity. If it makes you feel better, we have seen and heard it all in the ER. Nothing really phases us anymore. Yeah, this doctor knew exactly what to do. I could tell they've seen this before. Lock. Jaw at its finest. I really enjoy that in the middle of your choking and suffering, your boyfriend decided to take a pizza break. Stone cold, but relatable. Edit, shiny. Thanks, stranger. Can't believe him, but also can't blame him. A thick ER bill. So. Sounds like she had her parents pay for her to suck dick, which is even better. Today I fucked up by engaging with anti-vaxxers while grieving. Obligatory, this didn't actually happen today, and I'm using a throwaway for reasons that will become clear below. A few months back, a young family member passed away unexpectedly. A social media post was put up about it, and it went viral. There were lots of kind people who commented nice and sometimes even helpful things, but there were also several with more maligned intentions, first spammers, then a few people who just wanted to speculate wildly about cause of death in very hurtful and insane ways, and then the anti-vax community descended on it. The latter collectively wanted us to know that they knew what happened, that we could understand the tragedy better if we just talked to them. All of this was a lot to process in my grief, and I started going through comments and reporting them. My anger level rose, and before long I convinced myself that if I just messaged them and told them that the autopsy showed something 100% unrelated, that they'd lay off, that we would maybe even get an apology. As I wrote the first message, I convinced myself that people are decent, and they just misunderstood probably. I continued writing to a few others. Yeah. Couldn't have been more wrong about that. I got back messages from each with different insane takes on it. Then I started getting messages from other people I've never heard of. At the private, unannounced service, 2 women came up to me in the parking lot wanting to hug. I assumed they were from the other side of the family, people I'd met, but I just wasn't immediately recalling them, so I obliged. They expressed their sorrow, asked a few questions, and then began explaining that they had research that they'd like to share. One pulled out pages of handwritten notes about the dangers of vaccinations and how it relates to the deceased. Thankfully, the employees of the funeral home helped me dispense of them quickly at least. I continued getting messages on social media and later learned that my info had been spreading from one social media group to another along with any details they'd gleaned about the death from me. I eventually started getting phone calls even, though my phone number isn't out there in any easy to find place. One person went to the length to write up over 20 pages of facts about the death, including a section on how my loved one's death can further their cause politically. I couldn't even be mad, at least she was honest in her intention unlike the others. It's been months, and still I'm being hounded almost every single day by crazies all over the country. I've learned my lesson and don't respond or acknowledge them in any way now, nor have I for a while. I haven't mentioned this to any of my family members because we're all so broken right now and this is way too much on top of it. I just hope none of them are getting the same treatment. Too long didn't read. Anti-vaxxers have been trying to ruin my life since I tried to reason with them after the passing of a loved one. Edit, a few takeaways. To those that reached out with similar experiences, I have been mortified to learn that this wasn't unique to me. Thank you for trusting me with your thoughts and stories. I wish each of you the very best. To those that reached out who have also lost a loved one recently, thank you. Genuinely, that's a brave thing to talk about with a stranger online, and it's been really healing for me to have conversations with so many of you. I regret the username I chose for this post and the wording of my too long didn't read. I do believe in vaccinating, but am sad to realize my words were a catalyst in spurring so much hatred towards those who don't. The people that doxed me are on the extreme fringe of that group, and that has become even more clear to me reading comments and messages from some of you. I'm going to try to parlay this whole experience of wishing for more kindness from strangers during a tough time to trying to be as kind as I can be to strangers, and everyone else for that matter, online and otherwise. Sorry for your loss. People can be terrible, but others can be incredible. Hopefully the later have shown themselves too. Although as I read it, I read. Thankfully the employees of the funeral home helped me dispense of them quickly at least. And thought, well, this got really dark, no wonder this is a throwaway. That's one of the first times I've laughed in a while. Thank you for that. Jesus Christ, they're like vultures. They descend on the most vulnerable people they can find, trying to convert them. I'm sorry you had to deal with this, and I'm sorry for your loss, Op. So, we had new neighbors move in a few months ago. My wife and I made the effort to walk down the street and introduce ourselves and our 2-year-old son. It was all going great until they started hinting at and then outright stating they are anti-vaxxers. I replied, oh wow, I only plan on letting my son play with the autistic kids, that way I know they are vaccinated. They were so confused because they didn't know if I was encouraging or making fun of their ridiculous beliefs. I just wanna pop in here and say that most of us in the autistic community hate the anti-vax movement. Beside it being complete BS, anti-vaxxers put us on a stand and point at us like we are the worst possible thing that could happen to a family, worse even than having a child pass away. Makes us feel so loved. I'm so sorry this happened to you and is still happening. The anti-vax community is just on a different planet. The anti-vax community is just on a different planet. If only they were. Are they breaking any laws? It would be nice if you could call the police on some of these people. Interesting question I hadn't considered. I will think on that. Today I fucked up by watching a porn that almost gave me a heart attack. NSFW. About 2 months ago I was watching porn and found a girl who looked like my wife, which I'm into, so I clicked on it. As I watched it I started to think it might actually be my wife, then I turned up the volume and listened close and I start to panic. It sounds and looks just like my wife, my heart starts pounding. My stomach dropped to the floor when she looked at the camera. In this moment I am convinced. Luckily at the very end of a short clip there was like a 3-frame shot at the end that obviously wasn't her, but I couldn't get it out of my head. I kept watching and listening and slowed it down, and with the exception of those last frames it really seemed to be her. Anyways, after I finished my business I just sat and waited for my wife to come home, all the while telling myself things like it's not her, you're being stupid. I couldn't leave it alone, so I tried looking up the actress but couldn't find the info. Finally my wife came home and I had to show her the clip. First she laughed, then she gasped when the girl looks up. She started to tear up and asked if perhaps she'd been drugged or something. After further inspection and some comparison of identifying markers like birthmarks and the like, we concluded that it's not her but someone who looks and sounds extremely similar. I'm still trying to find out who the girl is because I'm hoping there may be some fun things to watch, like a good lesbian scene. For a good hour there I thought that my marriage of 10 years might have been a sham. The good thing is that it made me realize how much I love my wife and how important she is to me and my life. Too long didn't read, thought my wife was cheating on me in porn movie, almost had a heart attack, turned out to be her doppelganger. Edit, the shot is of her profile and for a moment she looks up, then back to profile and a quick look up again. The whole clip is about 1.5 minutes long. It's not a professional porno, it's a clip from a webcam show, not at a great quality. Had the angles or quality been better the whole thing could have been avoided. Yes, married men watch porn. I can't believe how many people asked about that. Yes, I'm sure it's not her. No, I won't be posting the source. On the off chance someone figures out who I am, I don't want to give someone I know the link to a porn that looks just like my wife. Edit 2. What I've learned from this thread is that this is a pretty common thing to happen. Also, to all the girlfriends in denial, idealistic 12-year-olds and Christian conservatives, masturbation is not cheating, neither is watching porn. Believe me, your boyfriends and husbands are much better off watching porn than being left to their own thoughts. You can have sex twice a day and still want to wank it sometimes. Just because you have a steak in the fridge doesn't mean you won't just want the ease and quick satisfaction of a bologna sandwich from time to time. Edit 3, nobody will see this last edit, but I feel like this point should be made. If a vegetarian watches a video of someone eating a bacon sandwich and thinks that it looks tasty and enjoyable, does that mean they're no longer a vegetarian? I don't think so. Being attracted to other women does not make a man a cheater. That to me requires physical touch or emotional intimacy. If one can be condemned for their thoughts, then there is no hope for any of us. I love how you were scared, but not too scared to finish. That was also what my wife said. Give me a link and I'll give you a name guaranteed. Like some sort of porn name, Hitman lol. After I finished my business. So you thought your wife was cheating on you making amateur porn, but you still fapped. Savage. Her doppelganger. Edit, Guide, thank you so much for the gold and silvers, y'all are amazing. Party face, party face, party face. I dunno ma'am. It could still be her. I think the both of you are too close to the situation to make a good judgment call on whether it is or not. Please provide a link to said video, and then one of your wife doing the same acts, at the same camera angles, so that Reddit can give you an unbiased decision. For science.